Dawson last week. What kind of opportunity was that to sort of move Kincaid around and see where he's at with his progression?
I thought it was a really good opportunity for Dalton to get some reps in some situations that maybe Dawson would be in at as well. And then also a really good opportunity for Q Morris to come in and fill that role of Dawson when we were in some 12 personnel groupings. So I thought it was a really good opportunity for everybody involved and a good opportunity for Dawson to make sure, just kind of step back and give those guys that chance.
How far are you into looking ahead to the Monday night game against the Jets right now?
Honestly, that's been a periodic thing here and there, but right now we're just focused on this preseason game. Right now we're focused on this week and this day of training camp. We preach to the offense, so we try to live it as coaches. Focus on this day every day. Focus on this play every play. So we try to be where our feet are and make sure we're going full steam ahead, getting better as a team right now. But full well knowing the task at hand when the season rolls around.
Given how they gave you fits last year, it seems they were the one team that seemed to have on defense that had you kind of figured out and like some of your lowest production. How much of an advantage is it knowing that you're going to be facing you have the whole off season to prepare for a team like the Jets?
Again, I don't want to get too far down the road on the Jets, to be honest. But they're a great defense, and I think they pose a lot of problems for every single offense they play in this league. So it'll be a great challenge for us, and one that we're going to prepare for and put our best foot forward when that day comes.
Last week you talked about that you thought Kyle and Matt kind of graded similarly from the first preseason game. I was curious, obviously there were some obvious struggles for Matt, but how you thought they both came out of that one, and obviously Matt's dealing with the injury, but what you feel like you need to see in this last preseason game.
Just execution at the end of the day, and that's what we need to see from every quarterback, going out, making good decisions, and executing the offense, and that's the overall criteria every time those guys step on the field. Execute this offense, make good decisions, and when we make good decisions, we feel like everything else takes care of itself.
Do you feel like you've seen Kyle take those steps forward to feel like he can have that execution in this offense? Has he progressed over the course of camp in these preseason games?
Yeah, and I think you look at the entire picture, and you look at practice reps, walkthrough reps, meetings, how he's doing in all those things, and his comfort level with the system and all those things. So I do think it's progressing, and I think the more you're in the system, the more opportunities you have to run it, the better off you'll be. So this week will be a great opportunity for him to get back out there and hopefully get a good chunk of playing time and continue to get that feel, and we'll continue that evaluation process.
Ken, where's your level of concern with execution on offense, and in particular the pre-snap penalties? We saw it certainly in the game and even yesterday in practice.
Well, I think the first game we were very effective and we did a good job in those areas, and then obviously last game wasn't good enough at the end of the day. And it's something, which is why we got to put a premium on practice and put a premium on making sure we're locked in, focused every single play, focused on this play every play. And that's something that we'll continue to do and continue to stress and make sure we're pushing our guys to strive to be the best we could possibly be. And in order to do that, you got to be great pre-snap, and you can't be hurting yourself with some of those different things. Post-snap penalties will happen in the course of a game. Let's control the controllables, and a lot of those are some of those pre-snap things.
With the retirement of Brandon and then the injury to Tommy, what's your level of either concern or where you're at maybe with the depth at tackle?
Obviously, it takes a shot at the depth in general, but I think we've got guys who are competing. Quist has a lot of experience in this league. Vandy's come in and really competed and showed improvement from last year to this year, gotten more comfortable in what he's doing and comfortable in the system, and we've got some other guys with some flexibility as well. So, we've got a group that's just going to go out and compete and try to prove themselves, and fortunately, we're still in camp. We're still in that evaluation process, and we'll continue to do that to make sure we're putting the best guys in places where they have an opportunity to help us win football games.
I know Ryan can play the interior. Sean has talked about him being able to play 5 spots. Would that be a situation where if you needed to, you could take a look at Ryan to do that in a pinch for you?
Well, and that's the great thing about Ryan. He's got a ton of flexibility, and he's got a lot of great experience within what we do as an offense. So we're looking at different things, whether it's Ryan or other guys, and we'll continue to do that. I think part of what you have to be able to do is make sure you're putting the 5 best guys out there. So at any moment, a guy who's a guard could be outside, if he's the right fit to go into that position. So without trying to move too many moving parts. So I think that's going to be crucial for us, and I think Chrome does a great job developing these guys and does a great job teaching them the big picture and not just laser focused on one thing. There's 5 other guys, and in order for a play to work, all 5 of those guys have to be in sync. In order to do that, everybody needs to know what everybody's doing. So it helps in that transition process if we got to move guys around.
Hey, Ken, are you expecting Josh to play on Saturday? And if not, are you comfortable with Kyle going the whole game as the only QB? If Matt can't play?
I'm comfortable either way. And again, that would be more of a Sean question, the playing time aspect of things. But whatever we decide to do, I feel comfortable with. Yeah.
Hey, Ken, how has Connor McGovern adapted his game to the way you guys want a left guard to play?
Yeah, obviously there's some technique things when you come from one team and coached one way to another. So, and just some of the verbiage and things like that. A lot of teams do the same things. You just call it different stuff. So it's like learning a new language. And I really think he's done a great job picking those aspects up of it. And then, Chrome's done a great job working with him, and he's continued to, I think, get more and more comfortable with the techniques that's Chrome's been teaching. So it's exciting to see that progression that he's shown, and I think those guys, between him and some of those other guys at the guard spot have really kind of stepped up and progressed well, and we're excited with the overall depth, especially on those interior guys.
How do you feel about Torrence's performance, given what you've thrown at him in the preseason here?
Yeah, that's a great question because we've thrown at him a lot, and we continue to rotate those guys and do some different things there. But I think in terms of him in general, he's really come in and just progressively gotten better and better each week, and I think that's the exciting part about it. And when he makes a mistake, he learns from it, and that's half the battle as a player and what you want to see as a coach. Okay, it's, hey, this is what we want to do a little bit differently here, and then he retains that and can kind of take that to the next time. So he just continues to soak in information, get better and better, and I think the physical tools speak for themselves with him.
What's Latavius Murray meant to not only the running backs room, but your offense?
Yeah, I think just anytime you got somebody who's got such great experience and a veteran guy like that, is huge. And then obviously the credibility that he brings as still being able to play at a high level is important too. It's not somebody with, experience who can't play at that high level anymore, where it's, you kind of lose some of that credibility at times. And I think he's got a ton of credibility in this locker room and a strong voice that people will listen to, when he brings up things and some of his experiences, whether it's with run game or protections or routes, and all those different things, some of those little nuances that I think he's learned from other places that, you could always kind of add and adjust some things there. He brings up some great points on some of those things. So I think I'm excited about where he's at.
You added Ty Johnson to the mix at running back. What do you think he brings to the table to bring him in?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, right now we're still looking at it. I mean, it's so early right now. We're just excited to kind of get him out there and see. Obviously, he's had some good experience in the league, and he's got some big playability to hit. Not only run powerful, but also hit some big plays. So excited about kind of how quickly he can progress and pick things up for us.
And then Shorter had 5 catches in the game last Saturday. Just kind of what stands out from what you've seen from him over the course of the game.
Well, I think one of the biggest things, just obviously, is his just physical presence out there and his ability to play fast. And he continues to grow from a just detail technique standpoint of playing the position. Whether it's releases, route stems, just zone spacing, all those little nuanced things that just come through experience and reps. And he's done a great job mentally. I think from day one he's really pushed himself to learn this playbook, and he continues to grow and really has done a nice job. I think you kind of saw that last game, really starting. I hope continue his stride within what we're doing.
And Ken, at the beginning of camp, you seemed really optimistic about what James Cook could be in your offense. What have you seen from him as we've kind of progressed, closing in on the end of the preseason here?
I really think, he's really shown some flashes of running strong and powerful, and really kind of finishing some runs, which you want to see from him. He's done a nice job in some protection situations, picking up blitzers, really stepping up and being physical. So those are the things you really want to see from him, because obviously as a runner, I think you've really seen throughout, last year and kind of the start of this year, he's got some explosive ability. And he just again, he's a younger player who just continues to grow with every rep. So there were some definite situations in the last game that I think he'll learn from in a situational football type standpoint, that we were able to coach off of, and glad those types of things happen in the preseason so we can learn and grow, just to make sure that we're giving ourselves the best chance, especially in certain situations.
And this is kind of a bigger picture question, but deep downfield passing was down last year compared to other seasons, but the Bills are one of the teams that did it the most. I was curious if you thought there was anything to that, either side, why you did it so much last year, or why it might be down league wide, if there was anything you thought.
No, yeah, I think one of the biggest things you try to do is attack all areas of the field and stretch the field. And then if teams are worried about that and taking it away, making sure we have good outlets underneath and being able to dump those off and take those things, and having some great rack players like a Dawson Knox, a James Cook, a Hardy, a Short, all these guys, have them in space to where then they can make plays, because defenses are worried about the downfield passing game. So I think there's balance that needs to be struck there, and we'll continue to look to make sure we're having that, whether it's ball out, whether it's downfield action passes, whatever it may be, that week. But we'll try to make sure we're striking a good balance, but also giving ourselves good options when we are trying to go downfield, to make sure Josh has great outlets underneath that he can take advantage of.
Do you feel like more teams, in general, are kind of using those rack kind of guys, to those speedy, quick guys who kind of pick up those yards? That's kind of happening more in this recent
Yeah, and I think you just, you see this league, it's not getting slower. It just keeps getting faster, and even as the guys get bigger, they still are getting faster, So rack is such a huge part of this league, and we continue to stress that, and continue to try to make sure we're putting our guys in position where they can do those types of things. And, I think we've got guys who can do that. And, you look at those guys we mentioned, you look at a guy like Steph Diggs and Gabe, guys who, if we get the ball in their hand in some space, they can do something with it.
You guys talked about how it'd be a big offseason for Spencer, putting the back injury behind him. A couple penalties last game, some pressures. What have you seen from him so far, and where is he compared to what you expected from him so far in camp?
No, I think, he's really progressing in a direction that we want him to go. He keeps getting better, I think, each week. And, he still is a young player. And within the second year within, kind of Chrome's system, and his coaching. So we're still, we're still coaching up the details and making sure we're hitting certain things with him and all those guys. But I think you see progression, you see the physical tools, and you see that ability with his length and his athletic ability, and then we're just going to keep hammering home on the coaching side, the consistency of those things, and not getting bored with the little details. And I think when he's locked in and does that, I think he'll just continue to grow.
How would you compare?
Do you approach cut down day any differently this year? Obviously the league changed some things, but more personally, a year under your belt, do you lobby more for guys this year? Do you anticipate doing anything differently than last year?
I mean, it's always the hardest day. You know, I mean, it's a painful day, you know, especially as a former player going through those days and you know, having to deal with it myself and having friends who had to deal with it. So it's a day that, you know, I kind of take, you know, personally, you know, I don't envy those guys in those situations, but you know, the process leading up to it, I think we do a great job as a staff and organization communicating and making sure that at the end of the day, every single decision that is made has been talked about and worked through and in the best interest of this football team to help us win games. As difficult as these guys make it in a lot of times, because I think with where our roster is at, you look at and there's not a lot of just easy cut and dry decisions. So I think that communication aspect is huge. And going into my second year, I definitely think, you know, you want to make sure you're continuing to stress your opinion and then, you know, making sure that the decision makers have all the information necessary to make the best decision for us.
Ken, how do you feel the intensity Stephon brings on a day-to-day basis compares this camp and preseason to others in years past?
You know, it's a great question because he's come in and just been great. I mean, he's provided a lot of energy for us every single day. Like, there hasn't been a day that practice has rolled around where it's like, you know, he don't want to be. Like, he's attacked every single day with a great attitude and great energy and I think great leadership. And I think you really saw that, you know, throughout times, you know, yesterday, you know, when certain things might not have been going well, he was one of the first guys to speak up. And that leadership is huge for us. And that energy that he brings is infectious. So love where he's at from a mental standpoint and love what he brings to the table for this offense. You know, obviously the physical ability as a wide receiver speaks for itself as one of the best in this league, but just what he brings to this offense from a mental toughness approach, from an energy standpoint, is unmatched.
Ken, is Trent Sherfield's ability in this offense to you come as a surprise at all, just given the amount of time he's had to learn this offense and kind of what he's brought to this offense?
I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't, you know, you look at a guy when you bring him in as a free agent, you know, and everything, you look at and evaluate tape and everything, and, you know, there were some traits that stood out, but I just didn't know how good Trent can be, you know, when he first got here. I really didn't. I thought, you know, he'd be a great piece for us and a guy who would compete for a spot and everything, but I mean, he's really come in and opened some eyes, you know, not only on the coaching staff, but throughout the trust of the quarterback room and the wide receiver room, just all the different things that he does, not only, you know, as a pass catcher, but as a blocker and just and as a teammate. You know, I think he's been tremendous kind of coming in here and just continues to get reps at some different spots and just takes advantage of every single time he's out on the field. And he's been a great surprise for us, you know, coming into this season, and what he's done throughout, we're really excited about.